Hello, everybody. My name is Moshe Sharabi. On behalf of me and my colleague, Galiti and I Ventura, would like to present our paper, The Effect of Religiosity Degree on Work Ethic Among Jews and Muslims in Israel. Now, there are many studies that compare work values between countries and societies, like Hofstadter, that compared countries regards collectivism, individualism, or Abramson and Engelhardt, compared between countries regard materialistic values and post-materialistic values, and many others. But none of them have compared the work values of different ethno-religious groups in the same country. Now, those studies look at each country as a homogeneous society, but we know that in each country there are different ethnicities, different religions, different races, etc. There are no studies that compares the work ethics of Jews and Muslims in and out of Israel, and our study trying to fill this gap and to compare the work ethic among Jews and Muslims according to religiosity degree and the effect of other demographic factors. Now, all the major world religions have positive view about work ethic in individual's life, but believers' behavior depends on their degree of religiosity and their translation and implementation of religious belief and values. Now, religious faith regard work and work ethics at the level of group and society can affect the economic success of each society. And Weber, in his seminal work about the Protestant work ethic and the spirit of capitalism, found that the Protestant theology was the cause of the rise of capitalism as well as the success of individuals and societies that internalize this ethic. Regards the work ethics in Judaism, we can see that the Talmud say, he who does not teach his son a craft teaches him robbery. So Judaism attributed dignity to human labor. No one, regardless of one's social position, was to consider oneself above working people. As Rabbi Shmaya said, love work, hate lordship. Now, in Judaism and the Bible, it's written 6 days you shall labor and do all your work. But it's also a constructing view of work, because in Joshua book it's written, this book of law shall not depart from your mouth, but you shall meditate on it day and night, so you may be careful to do everything written in it. So namely, the only right kind of work is worshiping God. This ambiguity regards work and religious observance is reflected in the studies among Jews. Regards the work ethics in Islam, the Quran said the human being can have nothing but what he is striven for, and the Prophet Muhammad preached that through hard work sins will be absolved, and that no one eat better food than the one who eat out of his work. He also said that God loves the person who learns precisely how to perform his work and does it right. According to the Quran, work is also have social meaning by providing benefits for others. While there are studies that compare the work ethic of Muslims and Christians and the effect of religiosity on the work ethic of Muslims in Muslim countries, there are no studies that compare the work ethics of Muslims and Jews and the effect of religiosity on the work ethics of these two ethno-religious groups. Now, Israel was founded in 1948, and dominant culture is Jewish and secular with Western orientation. Now, the Arab citizens in Israel are about fifth of the population. There are about 1.7, 1.8 million of the 9 million people in Israel. Most of them, 83%, are Muslim, 9% are Christians, and 8% are Druze. The Muslim society in Israel uh, is more conservative, traditional, religious, and collectivistic than the Jewish society. And also, the Muslim society is patriarchal. And as such, women have a marginal position within it, whereas among Jews, women have more equal status. And it's reflected on the participation rate in the labor market. While only 27% of Muslim women are joining the labor market, there are 66% of Jewish women that joining the labor market. Also, while there are 60% of the Muslims joining the labor market, 79% of the men are joining the labor market. And there's also high unemployment rate and lower income among Muslims compared to Jews. Now, regarding data collection, the meaning of work questionnaire was conducted on a representative sample of the Israeli labor force. 909 were Jews and 219 were Muslim. When we see the data, we can about the demographic variables, we can see that the Muslim society is much more religious than the Jewish society. While the Jews, 34% of the Jews are secular, only 25% of the Muslims are secular. Most of the Muslims live in rural areas, in the villages. Not 65% of the Jews live in the cities. Also, the Jewish workers have higher income and higher occupational status than the Muslims. Now, regarding the measurement, work centrality was composed of two questions. One of them is about absolute work centrality, and the other one is about relative work centrality compared to other life domains. And the scale was 1 to 7. The norms of obligation regards work were represented by three statements that are related to what you are supposed to do for your society, for your country, for your organizations. It's related to the Protestant work ethic that Weber was talking about. For example, it's the duty of every citizen to contribute to society by working, or every worker should value every work. It doesn't matter if it's boring, dirty, or unskilled. Now, there are norms of entitlement regards work that represented by three statements, and they are related to what you are expecting the society to do for you and what you expect the organization to do for you related to work life. And for example, the one that saying that every person in our society should be entitled in interesting and meaningful work, or a job should be provided to every individual who desire to work. It's more socialistic values where the country, the society have to take care of the individuals in the society and provide them jobs and education. Now, those are the major findings. We can see that among Jews, obligation norms and entitlement norms are positively correlated with religiosity degree. The more religious people are, the higher is their obligation and entitlement norms. While work centrality is the opposite way. The more religious people are, the lower is their work centrality. And surprisingly, among Muslims, there are no differences between secular, traditional, and religious regards work ethics dimensions. We can see that Interesting thing that work centrality among Muslims in the three religiosity levels is much higher than among the Jewish people here. When we are conducting regression analysis and adding a variety demographic factors, we can see that they are not changing the picture. Still, religiosity degree among Jews affecting obligation norms, entitlement norm, and work centrality, while it is not affecting the three work ethic dimensions among Muslims. We can see that also the moral factors doesn't have high impact on the work ethic dimensions. For example, we can see that the occupational status is positively related with work centrality among Jews and negatively among Muslims. You can see that age is correlated positively with obligation norms among Jews and Muslims, and correlated positively with entitlement norms only among Muslims. Now, you can see when we're discussing the findings, we can see that among the two ethno-religious groups in Israel, the degree of religiosity has different effect on work ethic dimensions, while among Jews, religiosity degree affected all the three dimensions of work ethic. There were no differences among Muslims with different religiosity degree concerning all work ethic dimensions. Secular Jews have higher work centrality than traditional Jews, and especially higher than religious Jews. This unique phenomenon among Jews in Israel regards work centrality was found in several studies. Possibly, religious Jews fulfill most of their intrinsic needs by religious studies, where secular Jews fulfill most of their intrinsic needs through working life. Now, the negative relationship can be explained by the fact that religious Jews may view work as less important than their practice of religion, and perhaps even perceive work as interfering with their practice of religion. The negative relationship conflict with the positive relationship between religiosity degree and the agreement with obligation norms. Obligation norms are reflecting the Protestant work ethic, and we find here that although the more religious people believe in the obligation norms, they still have lower work centrality. So, like, they believe that work is important and people have to work, but somehow their work centrality is lower. Like maybe they seems like they're working God, they're working for God. The work, it's also work of religion, of praying and learning and studying for God. Differently than the Jews, the work ethic dimensions among Muslims are not affected by religiosity degree, even when it's controlled. Even when it's controlled, the other demographic variables do not generally influence the work ethic dimensions. We have to take into consideration that while 76% of the Muslims consider themselves as traditional and religious, only 36% of the Jews consider themselves as traditional and religious. A comparison of Jewish society in Israel, which is relatively individualistic and liberal. Muslim society is more collectivistic, religious, and emphasizing traditional values. This is also reflected by the high percentage of Muslims that live in villages compared to Jews. A Muslim society, which is all Sunni, is much more homogeneous than a Jewish society. It is possible that Muslims who consider themselves as secular share many similar views about life and other values with religious Muslims, unlike secular and religious Jews, as reflected in our findings. It should be noted that the Muslim secularity is a relatively new phenomenon, unlike the Jewish secularity in Israel. Therefore, the gap between religious and secular Jews in all life areas is larger than among religious and secular Muslims. Now, we found that there is much higher work centrality among Muslims compared to Jews, and the extra high work centrality of Arab Muslim reflects a high non-actualized potential for organization for the Israeli society. The economic growth of Israel is can be substantially higher if less represented population, such as Muslims, especially Muslim women and ultra-Orthodox Jews, will integrate into the labor market. Shukran, thank you very much.